Lady Charmaine, and my guest today is the man behind the biggest reality shows like The Real Housewives of Atlanta and New Jersey, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Divas, and Don't Be Tardy. And he's here today to give us the dish and spill some tea. Plus, we're going to be talking about his latest show, The Next 15. Help me welcome the king of reality television, Mr. Carlos King. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Carlos. I'm telling you, of course, I couldn't wait to talk to you because, I want to talk to the man that's the brains behind the machine in reality because you are making it work. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about, which we do, because you got some great shows and I'm hooked on all of them. That's the problem, Carlos.
Oh, thank you for that. That's not the problem. That's the solution.
Oh, you mean to my guilty pleasure and my addiction. Look,
exactly. No, keep watching. Keep watching.
And that's the problem, I do. That's the problem. That's why they need to pray for me. That's well, Carlos, a lot of people, talk about your shows. Of course, The Real Housewives of Atlanta. You got New Jersey, Love and Hip Hop, and it's a shame I watch all of them, the divas. But the thing is, I want to talk to you about your formula because you was able to pin this formula and you was able to make it work for all of your shows. And when you sat down and you thought about doing reality TV, I just want to get into some stuff. What were you thinking when you was like, okay, this is the formula and let's see if it's going to work? What was your thought process?
Yeah, so for me, I was working at BET at the time. I was doing Lana Susan Park, History and AJ. I was working on a show called BET Style that had Melissa Ford and Big Tigger. So I wasn't even in the reality space when I got my introduction to television. So in 2008, I was given the opportunity to work on a little show called The Real Housewives of Atlanta because I really wanted to get my foot wet in reality. Because at that time, the biggest reality show was The Hill. That was on MTV, and I was super obsessed with that show. So when the Atlanta Housewives came to me, I said, you know what, if I really want to get into this world, let me start with this show, and let's see what happens after that. Little did I know that Atlanta Housewives, 8 years later, would still become the biggest show on reality TV. So to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I definitely caught the reality bug, and I was super, 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 super excited to really have that be my entree, if you will, into reality. And ever since then, I just decided to, you know what, this is what I am meant to do. This is what I love to do. And I just started to really build my forte, if you will, in terms of creating shows and crafting shows that really speak to our audience and really what pops in our culture. And I'm happy to have some success in that.
Now, you also specialize in storytelling. When you are looking for a cast and you are looking to produce a new show, what kind of stories are you looking for?
I'm always looking for stories that, A, are relatable, because when people watch television, you want to be able to relate to the characters on television. So I'm always looking for a relatable story. Secondly, I'm always looking for a story that is not being told on television at the time, because we like to mix things up, if you will, when it comes to what's happening in the world and how we can be able to, A, mimic what's happening in the world, or be at the forefront of what's about to happen. So when I'm looking for new stories, new cast members, I'm always looking for somebody who, A, is honest, and B, who has a story that a lot of people will relate to. And I think that's part of the reason why the Atlanta Housewives is so successful, is because every time you have a new girl on that show, or every season, they're always going through something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. Whether you're Black, you're white, Chinese, Latin, these women's stories are relatable. And when you think about the show that I do with my company, Kingdom Reign Entertainment, there's The Next 15, there's Hollywood Divas. I feel like those shows also really tell the world what's happening with women, with Black women, but at the same time, it's relatable to everybody.
Because I wanted to talk to you, because you did The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I've always had this question. Why was some of the women on the show actually not housewives? Like Kenya, what was the draw to pull in single women that was just dating?
Yeah, I think Bravo, the network, they wanted to redefine what the word housewife meant. Obviously, the Webster definition, if you will, is a woman who is married and she stays at home and she takes care of the family and her household. So Bravo, being the innovators that they are, they wanted to redefine what that meant. So when they created the Real Housewives of New York, and they have Bethany Frankel, who is the first ever housewife to not be married, they wanted to really show that housewives can be a definition that means just women who are thriving in the world and who aspire to be a housewife one day.
Oh.
So she was kind of the breakthrough in that world. So when you came to Atlanta, Kenya wasn't the quintessential housewife. However, she was somebody who wanted to have that world. And I think as you look at her journey on the show, you see how she's trying to navigate through the waters of getting a man to marry, to have the kids. And I think she's found that. I think she found the person to really make her housewife. So we'll see.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of times we see a lot of conflict on a lot of the shows. Is some of the conflict created by the cast members, or do some of the producers create conflict as well to make the story more interesting?
Yeah, you know what? For the shows that I produce, the conflicts are created by the circumstances that the cast members put themselves in. And our job as the producer is to really have it make sense for air. So when I say that, I mean we are following and documenting their real lives. We're not pulling the strings. We're not orchestrating any sort of conflict. What happens in these ladies' lives is really organic, and it's really something that they do themselves. But our job as producers is to make sure that we capture it on camera. But the show that I do and then the work that I do, we are ethical, and we're not pushing the envelope for the sake of ratings, but we are very clever in terms of how we are able to capture these real life moments. Even when the cast members may not want to talk about it, we're able to really navigate through that and have them discuss it on camera.
See, I'm glad you were honest about that, because 2 years ago I was contacted by a production company that wanted to do a story, do a show on me. And the producer, he had said to me, he said, and I was really hurt. And so I had to kind of like reevaluate the things that I watched, because he said, Charmaine, and he's Caucasian. And he said, Charmaine, he said, as a black woman, he said, this is what they expect of black women. And I wanted to get your opinion. That's what I'm going to tell you. This is why I'm so glad you're on the show. Because he said, and he does a lot of shows. He said, as a black woman, he said, I needed to be loud, brash, and willing to throw a glass. His exact words to me.
Oh, my gosh. That's disgusting.
And I told him, I said, I'm not willing to do that. He said, well, if you're not willing to do it, then you need to find some friends that's willing to do that. And they have to be willing, his exact words, they have to be willing to allow me to pull them to the side, whisper something to them, and then I catch their reaction on camera. I was not willing to do that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm very careful when I say the shows that I produce, because I do know that other producers do produce that way. And listen, I'm not here to judge anyone's way of handling their business, but that's something that I just find very disgusting, and I'm not a part of that. And I think, listen, as a black person, I have a responsibility to my culture to represent all sides of black people. So I'm not going to allow myself or allow anybody on my team to whisper in someone's ear and get them to do things that they don't want to do, or to have a mandate be, let's throw a drink in someone's faces. At least for the shows that I do. Mm-hmm. I can't speak for the other shows that are having women throw drinks. I think they have their own formula that works for them, and, more power to them. However, for the shows that I do, we're not forcing or whispering in anyone's ear, and I find that to be, sad that that's the image or the perception that some people see in terms of how Black women have to succeed in reality. That's not true.
Because I know a lot of people have said things regarding you because they felt that you were exploiting, African American women. How do you respond to that,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you've made a lot of people stars and just hearing you? This is what I'm hearing
Yeah,
from hearing you. It sounds like you're being genuine. You're not exploiting what they're going through. This is already happening in their lives, and like you said, you're just capturing what's happening organically in their life on
yeah,
camera. That's what I heard from you.
exactly. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. So thank you for that. I think it's interesting because if I was that person that the media is trying to paint me to be, don't you think that at least one of my cast members will go on the record and say, "Child, Carlos King, honey, he told me to do that, and he made me throw this drink, or he made me have this file. He told." Like, there's no way that I'm able to control any woman on my show
Mm-hmm.
when they are being interviewed. So if that was the case, honey, it would have been out there already. So the reason why I'm able to have a great career in this business and have great relationships with every single cast member that I work with is because, is what you said, I am genuine. And I really do care about the work that I do and what I try to do for my community. And I'm not trying to, listen, I'm not trying to call myself a role model, but I'm also not trying to say that I'm trying to defame the legacy that our people have fought to achieve. So I have a responsibility to myself, to my job, to my cast, to my culture, to really just entertain the world. And listen, some people may like it, which is great. Others don't, and that's fair. You don't have to. The beauty of what I do is if you don't like what I do, you have the power not to tune in. No one is forcing anybody to sit in a room, turn on the channel, and watch my shows. If you don't like it, there's a million other shows on TV that represent something that you like. So I find respect in people's opinion. However, don't discount or discredit the work that I have done for Black women and giving them the opportunity to achieve any goal that they have outside of the shows that they're on.
I'm glad you did the next 15 because it gave us for me, it gave me a look, not just behind reality TV, but it gave me a look at you, Carlos. And this is what I noticed about you watching
Yeah.
the next 15. You have a way with people to get people to trust you and to build a comfort level with you. Because I watch TV maybe kind of differently than others. And so I noticed the comfort level that Claudia had with you, even Tiffany
Yeah.
had with you. You know what I mean? You give them such a comfort level to where they trust you. How did you develop that with your cast members?
Yeah, well, trust is important. Without trust, you don't have a show, and that's the God's honest truth. So for me, my formula is I keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lie to them. Cause listen, the moment you lie to any of your cast members, you lost their trust, and they aren't going to give you their authentic self. So I just feel like it's better to be honest with them. If they feel some kind of way, I'm going to be completely honest with how I feel. If I feel like, hey, I need you to talk about this because this is what you're going through, then they have to trust me in order for that conversation to be had on television or from the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So trust is important. So I'm very honest. And what's interesting about that is every cast member is like, hey, you can say what you want about Carlos King. He is honest. He when he shows up, he lets you know how he feels, and he keeps it moving. So I think that's the reason, again, why there hasn't been an article out about, like, exposing Carlos King, because I am very honest with every cast member that I work with. And that's why they trust me.
Right. And you can see that because when you're doing a show, Carlos, and I know a lot of people want to hear this because a lot of people out there in the world, they want to do a reality show. So I want to try to help them out since I got the king of reality TV on the show. What are some of the elements that you look for a reality show, and especially elements for your cast members to make a successful show?
I look for, again, a personality that really is engaging for an audience to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many choices in television shows on TV, it's important that the shows that I do stand out. because it's a competitive market for myself and for the audience. So I'm always looking for people like a Tiffany or Claudia who are flawed and they're not perfect, because that's what's interesting about the shows that I do. You get to follow these people on a journey and be on this journey with them, and hoping that at the end of the day they achieve whatever they want to achieve. So, for example, when you think about Kenya Moore and you see her on this journey of trying to reconcile a relationship with her mom, that was something that was really important to her. So, although it wasn't pretty, I was excited that she at least gave us that opportunity to show that. When you think about Tiffany Needler Pollard and being somebody who is a little erratic, but she gives you a reason why she's that way. And you saw on the next 15 when I had a conversation with her, like, girl, you just can't quit my show and think that's okay. Like, we need to have a conversation. And her innocence is what attracted me to her. So I'm always intrigued to really give these ladies an opportunity to be who they are, but to also let's show the world how flawed we all are, because that's how I think an audience is able to relate to the show.
See, the thing that's good for Tiffany, because, I followed her career, of course, many of us have, and I've watched her on, from when she was on Botch to the next 15, and I also watched Dr. Jen, and it's the Dr. Jen show that she's on, the family therapy, that's opening up my eyes more so to her, because Tiffany is way over the top. You're like, okay, girl, calm down, go somewhere, take a minute, right? But now you see her, and you see her with her mom, and you see the issues that she have that's probably causing her to do what she's doing and react the way she's reacting. So I'm glad she's on that family therapy, because it opened you up to her life. And this is why she is the way she is. Because otherwise it's like, girl, you just doing too much. Is that really for the TV?
Exactly. When you see the dynamic relationship between her and her mother, you absolutely understand, like, okay, she is just like her mom.
Yes.
If not if not, she's more tame than her mom.
Exactly. Yes.
So you get a chance to see that, wow, this behavior comes from someplace. This is a learned behavior, the things you learned in psychology class back in college. This is a learned behavior that she grew up with, and this is her way of dealing with issues. So, yeah, that's a really good point.
Thank you. You and Todd, you guys came together. You're partnering. You have Hollywood Divas. How did you come together to form a partnership to have a successful show on TV One?
Yeah, so he and I, we met, I want to say maybe over 10 years ago. Again, when I was at BET, he was working at BET as well. And through the years, we always said, we need to work on something together. So Hollywood Divas came to us through TV One, specifically D'Angela Proctor and Robin Green Arrington, who are executives over at the network, and they came to us with this wonderful project. So he and I cast the first season, and I'm happy that 3 seasons in, it's a hit on TV One, and season 3 of Hollywood Divas debut in July, and we have Malika Hawk from the Kardashians as our newest diva. So, yeah, it's exciting. So it's such a great season, and I just can't wait for people to really tune in to see how Malika navigates through the quote-unquote old Hollywood, if you will, because she's part of like this new young Hollywood. So to see these two worlds merge is just very, very interesting.
Carla, since you are the king of reality television, how many people do you have coming to you saying, you know what I mean? I have this great reality show idea. I'll be great for TV. How do you handle that?
Girl, I get that every single day.
I know
multiple times a day. I really do. So what I've done is I created this division with my company, Kingdom Reign Entertainment, where I have consultations for a fee with people who are interested in pitching me a reality show. So I've done this for the past, I want to say 3 years. And it's been interesting because I'm able to funnel through the serious candidates who really are interested in pitching an idea versus just wanted to meet me and talk. You know, so
okay.
I'm able to navigate through the real inquiries versus just people who are, you know, just fans of the work and just want to, you know, talk to me for 15 minutes. So I can say in the past 2 years, maybe a handful of ideas have come to me that I'm like, oh, interesting. So, you know, I always tell people, if you want to pitch me something, log on to my website. It's kingdomreign.com, and pitch, and we'll see what happens.
Pay your fee, then pitch him your idea.
Pay your fee.
Then pitch
and then
him.
you can see me. Yeah. Then we can chat.
I want to fill in that blank, dear. Pay your fee and then pitch me.
Yes. Pay your fee, honey.
And
yes.
Now, Carlos, you know, I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I never bring up anything that I read. So anybody that knows has ever been on my show, no, I don't bring up anything that I read. But somebody brought this to my attention, and I wanted you to clear it up. Because if I do bring up something, it's for a person to clear it up. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know, I don't like.
Sure, bring it on. Yeah.
Yes. The show Selling It with the ATL, I heard that was Sheree's idea. She brought the idea to you. You took it and sold it and made her co-executive of the show. I guess with the promise of her being a full-time Peach, but she was only given 10 or 12 episodes. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to explain that, because there's always two sides to every story.
Yeah, well, you know what's so funny about that to me is when that story came about, I just remember feeling like, okay, is this what people mean when they say, you know, you made it when people make up stories? Which I was like, this is interesting. Like, why are people making up these crazy stories? That's number one. Number two, I think it's very interesting that people love to report gossip. But once you submit facts, no one reports it. So there's a video that nobody wants to show where Sheree Whitfield, out of her own mouth, said, Carlos did not steal anything from me. He and I were partners on this show. He is a great friend of mine, and we did the show together. Mysteriously, no one posted that video, but people love to run with the rumor. So I find that very interesting, and it just shows where we are in this world when it comes to media. But hey, I'm not mad at it.
And that's why
to answer your question, no.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. That's why I could really answer it. And again, it goes back to my earlier statement. If that really happened, we all know Sheree Whitfield is not by her tongue. And we all know she loves to check people. It would have been all over the world how she checked me, okay? Right. Or there would have been a bigger situation. So, no, it did not happen. Sheree Whitfield did come to me with this idea of real estate agent, and I was like, interesting. Long story short, she found some amazing cast. I finalized the people she brought to me. I created a pilot. Got it sold. Sheree has a co-executive producer credit on the show. So everything is fine. We're waiting to see if we're going to have a season 2, but that show was super amazing. Selling It ATL, I would have to say, was the hardest show I worked on for many reasons, but it was the most challenging because I really wanted to show professional Black women in the world of real estate, and to show that Black women are diverse, that they're not just housewives, they're not just love and hip hop artists or behind the scenes. You know, I want to be able to bring to the forefront different facets of that world. So doing Selling It in the ATL was a special show for me. And again, kudos to Sheree for finding some great women to be on the show.
My sentiments, it was a great show. I like all your stuff, Carlos. You're my guilty pleasure. See, I got problems with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to entertain you some more.
Look, you're welcome. That's all I gotta say.
I hope so.
But before we go, I wanted to know, you know how you had Housewives? We had Deshaun Snow from the beginning, of course, Claudia, and then Sheree, she was on, and now she's back. What is the turntable for a housewife just to be in for just a couple seasons or one season? Why do they switch? Is it because they don't want to renew their contract, or the audience is not connecting with them anymore? Why do they switch out?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's a lot of variables that come down to when a housewife isn't brought back to the show, or when they're on for a couple of seasons and then they either A, remove themselves, or B, they're removed from the network. So there's not one reason as to why this happens. I think a lot of it has to do with, whether or not the audience connected with the cast member, whether or not that cast member story has run dry and there's just nothing else you can get out of them.
Or they're boring.
In terms of like they're or they're boring. Nobody wants to watch paint dry. As much as we saying,
you got to
who
step
wants
your
to watch
game
paint
up.
dry?
That's right, Cynthia.
Hey, I'm like, if you're boring, you're boring.
Yeah.
Like, listen, not everybody is meant to be on TV. It is what it is. If you're boring, live your boring life. No one cares.
Yes, honey.
Get off the television and allow the most interesting people to have that limelight. That's how I look at it.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Then you got to learn to step your game up. People such as Cynthia, you got to step it up, girl. Step it up. Did I say that?
Well, listen, we'll see what happens season 9. She's going through her issues with Peter. But we'll see.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Cynthia, rather, is going to handle what her and Peter are going through and how that story is going to be told. So, who knows, honey? Maybe she'll step it up.
Yeah, so look, we shall see. It was such a pleasure having you on the show, Carlos. I just want to say thank you and continue doing what you're doing. I know some people that don't like it. They call it Ratchet TV. And even on my other show, I talk about it. Okay, that is my guilty pleasure. Yes, I even have on my Instagram, I'm a Ratchet TV watcher. So look here. and it's a shame, Carlos.
Well, I hope to provide you with more Ratchet content. How about that?
And Carlos, and I do it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yes.
My Sunday night pleasures. Yes. But yes, are you working on anything new? I want to let people know. What do you have anything new coming out that we can look out for?
Yeah, well, the thing that's coming out, the next thing I should say, is Hollywood Divas Season 3. Again, that comes out in July on TV One. Again, new cast member Malika Hoff of the Kardashians. She's on. Mm-hmm. And there's a few other things happening that I can't speak about just yet, but I'm very excited in terms of what 2016 is going to bring for me and the company. So all I have to say is stay tuned.
Well, I will. I'll be staying tuned.
I know you will. If no one else will, I know that you will.
Because I interview your divas too. When TV One, I interview your divas. They've been coming on since your first season, which is a pleasure interviewing the ladies.
Those are my babies.
Yes.
I love them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Carlos King, the king of reality television of Real Housewives of Atlanta, the next 15, selling in the ATL, coming out in July, Hollywood Divas. Thank you so much, Carlos, and I look forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had such a good time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Lady Charmaine.